Hey guys, today we unroll a mossy old map, adjust our tricorn hats, and step into the chilled fog of coastal Nova Scotia. The waves lap like a heartbeat against the jagged shores of Mahone Bay, and just a short rowboat ride from the mainland sits an unassuming island, verdant, tree-covered, and probably cursed. You hear birds squabble overhead and the creak of damp wood beneath your boots. Oak Island looks calm, boring even. But that's a lie. You're standing on the doorstep of one of the world's most maddening unsolved mysteries, the Money Pit. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, post your location and local time in the comments, especially if you're from anywhere near Nova Scotia. You get bonus spooky points. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into T.O. Day's journey together. You trudge through the undergrowth, brushing aside branches slick with dew, until your foot sinks slightly into soft earth. There's a weird depression in the ground here, circular, about 13 feet across. It's 1795, and you're technically a teenage boy named Daniel McGuinness, though for our purposes, you can just be you. You and your two friends, John and Anthony, have heard local rumors of strange lights dancing through the trees at night. Ghost stories, sure, but the kind that nudge at your curiosity like a persistent raccoon. You look down at the dent in the soil and think, someone dug here, maybe pirates, maybe buried treasure. You're 16, which is prime dig up your backyard age. So you grab a shovel and go at it. The soil is surprisingly loose at first. You dig 3 feet down and hit a platform of logs. Perfectly spaced, you blink, wipe your brow and dig through that too. 3 more feet, another platform, and then another. Someone, long before you were born, built this thing, methodically, intentionally. By the time you've gone down 30 feet, you found multiple log platforms, each precisely every 10 feet apart. You probably won't survive this. Okay, maybe you will, but historically speaking, many don't. Let that sink in. This is the moment the obsession begins. Not just yours, but humanity's. Word spreads fast in your sleepy little settlement. A money pit, they call it. The name sticks. Suddenly, grown men are interested. Investors, merchants, adventurers with nothing better to do than chase legends in the woods. Over the next several years, various digging attempts are made. Each time, it's the same story. The deeper you go, the stranger things get. You reach 40 feet, another platform. 50 feet, still more logs. And then at 60 feet, you hit something peculiar. A layer of coconut fibers. Which, yeah, in the middle of Nova Scotia. Coconut trees famously grow here, obviously. That's sarcasm, in case the ASMR voice didn't sell it. Historians still argue whether those coconut fibers were planted as a trap, insulation, or just random ballast, but they're real. You can see them, smell them even, faintly sweet and brittle. By 1799, with financial backing, a more serious excavation begins. They reach 90 feet and find a stone. Not a regular rock, this one's carved with strange symbols. Cryptic, like something out of an escape room. One modern translation, which may or may not be accurate, claims the stone reads, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. Whether that's real or Victorian-era fan fiction is still up for debate. You scratch your head. Why would someone go to all this trouble? Layered logs, fibers from tropical plants, and now a coded message. Either someone really wanted to hide something, or they really wanted to mess with future diggers. Here's the kicker. After that stone is removed, almost as if it triggered something, water floods the pit, like instantly. One moment it's dry, the next it's full, like a nightmare swimming pool. You try to pump it out, but it just keeps refilling. From where? Nobody knows yet. It's salt water though, not rain, not groundwater. clever is going on beneath Oak Island, and you haven't even hit the weird part yet. Over the next few decades, various groups form companies with delightful names like the Truro Company and the Onslow Company. They all throw their money and backs into solving the puzzle, and yet, every time they reach a certain depth, usually just past the 90-foot depth, mark the pit floods again. You step back and look around. The trees whisper, the fog has thickened. Some workers begin to whisper of a curse. A local legend forms. 7 people must die before the treasure will reveal itself. The number is arbitrary. The deaths, unfortunately, are not. The first fatal accident? A man named Maynard Kaiser. He falls to his death while being hoisted out of the pit. The rope snaps. You hear it even now, a dull twang in the mist. That's one. From here on out, Oak Island becomes a magnet for both serious treasure hunters and total lunatics. Some come with cutting-edge, for the 1800s, equipment. Others come with dowsing rods and dreams. Nobody finds the treasure, not yet. Mainstream historians agree on this much. Something artificial was constructed on this island in the 1700s, or earlier. The sheer volume of labor required, the tools, the layered structure, it all points to a deliberate effort. But by whom and why? Fringe theorists, because there's always fringe theorists, suggest it could be anything from Aztec gold to Marie Antoinette's lost jewels to an alien data cache. Someone even suggested it was an elaborate decoy built not to hide treasure, but to waste time. Honestly, that might be the most plausible theory so far. By now, you're muddy, bruised, and no closer to any gold than when you started. But you can't stop thinking about it. That coded stone, the flooding, the perfectly spaced log platforms, the coconut fibers that feel like a joke without a punchline. And so, with your lantern flickering and fog curling around your ankles, you decide to keep going. You lower yourself back into the pit, the makeshift pulley creaking overhead, your hands calloused and rope burned. The damp air down here doesn't just cling, it presses. Every breath feels like inhaling the breath of the island itself, heavy with salt and secrets. You're past the 90-foot mark now, and whatever this pit is guarding, it's willing to drown you for even asking. The year is creeping into the early 1800s. You and your fellow diggers men with names like Smith, Ball, and Vaughan try every trick in your limited book. Buckets, bailing systems, even rudimentary pumps. But the pit seems alive. When you remove water, it pulls more in. And it's not just soaking in from the sides, it's rushing, as if pumped in from somewhere else, somewhere intentional. You take a closer look at the water. It's salty, briny, the kind you'd taste if you licked a shipwreck. And you're inland, surrounded by trees and dirt. So where is it coming from? This is when a chilling possibility begins to form. The pit is connected to the ocean. The Truro Company, an organized group of investors and diggers, sets out to investigate this. They bring in engineers, surveyors, and the 19th century equivalent of that guy who's good with tools. And they discover something that makes your stomach drop. Artificial flood tunnels. Multiple, not just one. Angled shafts cut through the rock and soil, leading to the nearby Smith's Cove. These tunnels act like veins, feeding the pit a steady flow of seawater whenever it's breached. A booby trap, a defense mechanism. It's diabolical. You walk the short path to Smith's Cove to see it for yourself. There, among the slippery rocks and tide pools, they uncover what looks like a box drain system. Layers of flat stones, coconut fibers, and eel rods, deliberately arranged to filter and feed seawater through a 500-foot tunnel back to the pit. You can't even get your friends to help you move a couch, and someone centuries ago managed to pull this off. Historians still argue whether these flood tunnels are as extensive and complex as legend claims, or if modern interpretations have exaggerated things. But one thing's certain, people keep dying. By now, it's not just Kaiser's fatal fall on the list. In 1861, while attempting to dig a second shaft to intercept the original money pit, a steam-powered pump causes a boiler explosion. One man is killed instantly, and others are severely injured. That's death number 2. At this point, if you're keeping count of the cursed 7 must-die legend, you're starting to get nervous. But of course, you keep digging. That's the whole point of this place. You can't not dig. It gets in your blood, like salt water. In one particularly desperate attempt, the Oak Island Association, another group of well-funded enthusiasts, tries to circumvent the flooding problem by digging parallel shafts and tunnels to the original. Imagine creating an underground spaghetti junction, hoping to drain one tunnel by tapping into another. The result? More collapses, more water, more failure. Yet something compels you. In one shaft, a drill retrieves fragments of gold chain. In another, a bit of parchment with barely visible ink. You squint at it under lamplight and make out the letters V. Just that, nothing more. V, X. Could be Roman numerals. Could be the start of victory. Could be vindication. Or vintage. Or nothing. Your brain fills in blanks that maybe shouldn't be filled. Even mainstream researchers admit these findings are legit, or at least not disproven. Some items were reportedly displayed in local museums, now lost to time, theft, or decay. The deeper you go, the murkier the records get. But that gold chain, multiple witnesses claim to have seen it. At 98 feet, another mysterious barrier is reached. This one is described as cement-like, not natural clay or silt, but a substance packed tight as though by human hands. Just beyond that, more flooding. Of course. By the late 1800s, the pit becomes a full-blown attraction, not in the gift shop and mini-golf kind of way, but in that Victorian era let's throw more men and money at it until someone either finds treasure or dies sort of vibe. Each expedition becomes more ambitious and more reckless. Here comes death number 3. It's 1897. A man named Maynard, from a newer team of Viggers, falls to his death during another collapse. The pit claims him, like it's been waiting. You shiver. That's 3 down, 4 to go. If the curse is real, but you're not counting. You pretend you're not counting. Still, discoveries persist. In 1895, a group finds what they believe to be a stone vault at 154 feet down. The excitement is real until the structure collapses before they can extract it. Dawn, lost in the mud and water like so many other clues. Then there are the metal fragments, sheets of what seems like rusted iron, possibly forming a container or vault. The deeper you go, the more you're convinced that someone wanted this to be found, but only by those patient or foolish enough to play the long game. But here's a twist for your sleepy little brain. Some theorists believe the pit was never meant to be found, that it was designed to protect not just treasure, but knowledge, information worth hiding forever. Suddenly, this isn't about gold doubloons anymore. It's about something more dangerous, truth. You lie awake in your creaky little bunk on the island, watching shadows crawl across the ceiling. A heavy silence surrounds you, except for the occasional drip of water echoing from somewhere below. Oak Island doesn't want you to sleep. It wants you digging. Even the land resists. Storms strike at the worst moments. Equipment breaks mysteriously. Wells dry up. Tools go missing. Tempers flare. By now, the pit isn't just a hole. It's a character in the story. And it's not the helpful sidekick. Quirky tidbit for you. One 19th century investor swore the treasure was guarded by ancient Hebrew magic and tried bringing in a rabbi to break the curse. Another group employed a psychic medium who claimed the treasure was cursed by spirits from Atlantis. And you're just trying not to drown. You stand at the edge of the pit again, peering down into the black, the air around it unnaturally still. You swear the island's heartbeat is echoing up through the dirt. You wipe the sweat from your brow, though the chill from the damp air still clings stubbornly. As you stare down into the yawning mouth of the money pit, the creeping realization dawns that this mystery is far from just wood, water, and bad luck. Something else is buried here, something deliberate, something cunning, and probably more complicated than your average pirate chest. Your eyes catch the jagged edges of the old platforms as you descend once again, this time with a new sense of purpose. This isn't just digging, it's an archaeological dive into a secret built layer by layer, foot by foot, over centuries. And it's time to get a little weird. For starters, there's the matter of the booby traps. Yeah, booby traps, because apparently, whoever built this pit wanted to make sure anyone digging it would get soaked. But these aren't your typical wooden tripwires or swinging blades. We're talking about a system so sophisticated, it could make James Bond jealous. There's historical evidence that when diggers broke through certain layers, the pit flooded instantly, like clockwork. Not just from the ocean tunnels you remember from before, but possibly from other hidden shafts, sealed with clever pressure valves. You can almost hear the ancient architect smirking under the ground. And it gets stranger. While working at Smith's Cove, your crew discovers a mysterious stone slab with strange symbols etched deep into its surface. You run your fingers over the grooves. The texture is rough but deliberate. Some believe this is the infamous cipher stone, the key to unlocking the money pit's secrets, but its meaning has baffled everyone since it surfaced in the 1800s. Historians still argue whether the cipher stone is an authentic artifact or a clever 19th century hoax meant to bait treasure hunters into wasting time and money. Regardless, its enigmatic carvings have fueled decades of decoding attempts. Then there's the coconut fiber, which you might recall from before but deserves a fresh spotlight. Remember, these tropical fibers were found in the flood tunnels and even in some of the pit's lower layers. Coconut trees in Nova Scotia. Yeah, that's like finding a pineapple pizza in a pizza haters convention. Weird, right? Some think the fibers were used for their durability and water-resistant properties, helping to line the tunnels and prevent collapse. Others go full conspiracy. Maybe pirates or some secret society imported coconuts as ballast on their ships. Or maybe they left a sneaky signature meant to confuse future diggers. Speaking of secret societies, there's always the tempting allure of codes and ciphers in this story. The pit's designers seem to have left messages, if only we knew how to read them. From the cipher stone to coded parchments supposedly found in the pit, you can't escape the feeling that this was more than just a treasure chest. One particularly fun fringe theory suggests that the carvings are actually a form of early Hebrew or Phoenician writing. This idea ties into the theory that the pit could be a hiding place for ancient religious artifacts or knowledge, making the mystery less about gold and more about faith and power. But again, historians argue whether these connections are fact or fancy. You find yourself getting lost in all these details, the puzzle pieces swirling in your mind, as if the pit itself is whispering secrets you almost understand. And then you notice something else, strange metal fragments. Rusted, corroded, but definitely metal. Some speculate these could be parts of old tools, or perhaps remnants of a chest or vault. You trace your fingers over a chunk of iron embedded in the mud, and can almost imagine the craftsman who forged it. Did they wield swords, build chests, or was this metal part of some ancient locking mechanism? You shiver as the damp air thickens. In the 1800s, when these metal pieces first appeared, people were convinced the pit held more than just treasure. It was a fortress, a trap, a secret vault. And there's more. In 1849, a man named Simeon Linz excavated a nearby swampy area where he discovered a stone with a curious design that some believe could be a map or a clue tied to the money pit. Theories about this Linz stone range from practical, like a surveyor's marker, to wildly imaginative, suggesting it encodes coordinates to hidden treasure. As you pull back from the swamp, your thoughts spiral into the tangled web of historical facts and fringe ideas. Could this be a buried trove of pirate gold, a lost cache from the Knights Templar? Or maybe, just maybe, a cleverly constructed ruse to trick foolish diggers for generations? But here's a little-known tidbit. Some researchers have proposed that the entire money pit operation could have been an 18th century elaborate hoax, designed to attract investment into Oak Island, fueling local economy more than any buried gold ever could. Still, as you glance around, it's hard not to get swept up in the romance of it all. The pit isn't just a hole in the ground. It's a vault of stories, of human hope, greed, and the tantalizing possibility of the unknown. Now, you have a new problem. How do you solve a mystery that seems to fight back at every turn, with tunnels that flood, stones that hide messages, and fibers that belong on tropical beaches? As the night deepens, you feel the island breathing beneath you. You're part of a story that's still being written, one log platform, one strange fiber, one code at a time. You lean back, close your eyes, and wonder what lies just beyond the next layer of earth. You step back from the pit's gaping mouth and wipe the grime from your hands, wondering who else might have tried to crack this code before you, and what strange alliances might have been forged in the shadows. Because by now, the mystery has expanded beyond just logs and flood tunnels into a sprawling web of theories that read like the script for a Dan Brown novel. Templars, pirates, Shakespeare, the Holy Grail. Yeah, those are all in the mix here, and you're about to take a sleepy little stroll through some of the wildest theories Oak Island has inspired. Let's start with the Knights Templar. You've probably heard whispers of these shadowy medieval warrior monks guarding secret knowledge and treasure. Some believe the money pit holds Templar gold, or even sacred relics, buried here to keep them safe after the order was disbanded in the 14th century. The theory goes that the Templars, or their successors, secretly sailed across the Atlantic, finding refuge on Oak Island. You can picture it, hooded figures navigating stormy seas, stashing chests deep underground. It's romantic, yes, and wildly speculative. Historians still argue whether there's any real evidence supporting this theory, or if it's just a comforting fairy tale for treasure hunters. Next, pirates. Because what's a buried treasure without a few salt-crusted sea dogs? Some think Blackbeard himself or his ilk used Oak Island as a secret stash point. After all, the island is close to important shipping lanes, making it a perfect hiding spot. The discovery of Spanish coins and other artifacts in the area seems to lend some weight to this. However, no direct pirate logs or maps reference the island explicitly. Now, hold on to your pillow, because here comes the Shakespeare connection, one of the more eyebrow-raising theories. A few enthusiasts claim the Oak Island treasure includes lost manuscripts or even original Shakespearean works, hidden away by Sir Francis Bacon, who some believe was the true author of Shakespeare's plays. Why? Because, if you believe this theory, Bacon was a member of secret societies that allegedly buried important knowledge in cryptic locations, including Oak Island. You try to imagine the famous playwright swapping quills for shovels, burying literary gold beneath a pile of logs. The Holy Grail theory is a close cousin. Some believe Oak Island is the resting place of the Grail itself, or perhaps other sacred Christian relics, maybe the Ark of the Covenant. It's the kind of idea that makes your mind drift into low-key Indiana Jones territory, except with more fog and fewer explosions. There are even claims that symbols found on the stone slabs resemble ancient religious iconography, though others argue they are simply misinterpretations or modern fabrications. One particularly quirky tale involves a mysterious man in black who allegedly haunts the island, warning diggers to quit while they're ahead. Some say he's a guardian spirit, others think he's a local eccentric in a trench coat. Either way, the stories add a nice shiver to the night. You start to wonder if all these theories are just different ways of explaining the same thing, the island's uncanny ability to keep its secrets. Amidst this, the island's ecosystem seems to conspire with the mystery. It's home to strange birds, odd plant life, and peculiar mosses. One local botanist noted that the island's flora differs slightly from the mainland. Could this be evidence of past human interference or natural quirks? The answer is lost in the fog. Historians still argue whether any of these theories hold water, or if the whole Oak Island saga is simply a case of collective obsession fueled by confirmation bias, wishful thinking, and of course, the occasional real discovery. You rub your chin and think back to those coconut fibers in the flood tunnels, evidence of contact with far-off tropical places. that's the real clue. The island's story is stitched together from far-flung histories and legends, a patchwork quilt sewn from pirate myths, secret societies, and the dreams of countless treasure hunters. The question lingers in the salty air. Is the money pit a treasure chest, a trap, a tomb, or something else entirely? The truth, as always, is somewhere buried in the mud and mystery of Oak Island. You glance at the island's dark silhouette against the starry sky, knowing that whatever lies beneath, it's been waiting patiently, perhaps even laughing quietly, for you to find it. The days drag on, each one melting into the next, like the slow drip of water into the pit. You're caught in the rhythm now, the endless cycle of digging, draining, discovering, and doubting. The island has a way of sucking you in, like quicksand for the curious. It promises glory, but delivers frustration and fatigue instead. You notice the island's other whispers, the lingering scent of salt and pine, the soft rustle of leaves brushing against the bones of old machinery left to rust in forgotten corners. Somewhere, a lone gull calls, a lonely, haunting sound that feels like a soundtrack to your obsession. As the years pass, technology improves, and with it, new attempts to unravel the pit's enigma come and go. From steam-powered pumps to early explosives, each era brings fresh hope and fresh heartbreak. One of the most famous 20th century ventures was led by the Onslow Company in the 1930s. They brought in heavy equipment and expert divers, convinced they were on the brink of a breakthrough. Divers explored underwater tunnels beneath Smith's Cove, mapping intricate networks of chambers and shafts. The divers found strange stones arranged in a pattern, stones inscribed with mysterious symbols and markings. Some believed these to be part of a vault or crypt, others argued they were natural formations or remnants of old dockworks. Historians still debate the origins and purpose of these underwater structures. Meanwhile, the legend of the Money Pit captured the public imagination. Books, movies, and countless articles immortalize the island as a site of perpetual mystery. You see the island shifting from a place of industrial effort to a cultural icon, like a myth folded into the fabric of North American folklore. By now, dozens of holes dot the island, each with its own story, its own promise, its own curse. And then there's the matter of modern treasure hunters, like the Lagina brothers, who've taken the mantle, blending cutting-edge tech like sonar scans and remote-operated submarines with good old-fashioned grit. They found artifacts, a 17th century Spanish copper coin, a stone tablet engraved with cryptic characters, and bits of old wood that carbon dating suggests might be as old as the original pit. These findings have rekindled the debate: treasure or trap, truth or tall tale. Through it all, the island refuses to give up its deepest secrets. Here's a quirky fact. During one excavation, a team unearthed an old 18th century mariner's chest, completely empty except for a single human tooth and a small piece of parchment. The tooth's origin remains a mystery, and the parchment was too damaged to read. You wonder who it belonged to, what story it could tell, if only it could speak. In the quiet moments, you think about the countless men who came before you, drawn here by dreams of riches, adventure, or something greater. Some left with their pockets full, others with nothing but memories and scars, and some never left at all. The island's most persistent curse might not be supernatural. It might be the relentless grip of hope and obsession. Historians still argue whether the Money Pit ever contained anything of real value, or if it was a cleverly crafted mirage from the start. Yet, the allure persists because deep down, you know that sometimes the journey is the treasure. As the sun sets and the island's shadows lengthen, You feel a calm settle over you. The pit, with all its mysteries and dangers, has become a part of your story, a silent companion in the dark. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into Teoday's journey together. The secrets of Oak Island aren't just buried in the earth, they're buried in our curiosity, our dreams, and our restless need to know. So, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine the island stretching beneath you, its secrets waiting patiently, just a few feet away, hidden beneath layers of mud, wood, and salt. Now, as you lie back and let your eyelids grow heavy, imagine the gentle hush of waves lapping at the shore, the faint rustle of leaves in the soft evening breeze. The island's heartbeat slows, its secrets folding quietly into the night. What is this island life? You feel the weight of history settle softly around you, like a warm blanket woven from the stories of those who came before, men and women drawn by hope, by obsession, by the tantalizing promise of something just out of reach. It's okay to let go for now, to release the endless digging, the whispering clues, the pounding anticipation. The money pit waits. It always will. Its mysteries aren't going anywhere. Tonight, drift away knowing that some secrets are meant to be savored slowly, in dreams and in quiet moments. The earth holds its breath, and so do you.